multiple hours you have to burn in the game. I mean, that's just, I think that's rare. I don't think that's happened a whole bunch.
Adam, can you take us through the 75-yard pass to Kenny? I'm not sure I've ever seen Ryan throw a better deep ball. Do you agree?
Oh, it was nice. He put it right where we really talk about it. It's almost a joke when we say, hey, we can put it 45 yards right down the hash. I think he put about 47 right down the hash. So
I mean, it was covered pretty well.
It was, and Kenny was moving, and it was a good play between those two, and a lot of trust there.
After watching back the 2 interceptions, the one to Gesicki and the other one, what did you observe?
Well, I think the second one, that was really play call of, hey, if you throw a pick here, it's as good as a punt. So it's not really a big deal. I do understand what he was thinking, and him and Jakeem just weren't on the same page, which that'll come through time. It was one of those things where something popped free that we really haven't seen happen a whole bunch, and that's just experience of running kind of some of the plays that we run. And, you know, the first one to Mike, I want to say the ball kind of slipped out of his hand. It really wasn't really the type of throw we were looking for there. I think Mike was a little caught off guard. That's why you saw, you know, the defender being able to step in front of that ball. But I think, you know, when we go back and talk to him about it, you know, when we did talk to him, during that time, you know, he wished he would have thrown a better ball.
And what did you see from your wide receiving crew yesterday?
I felt like they really did a good job of playing multiple spots. When we had personnel changes, those guys were in and out quick. There was good communication with that group. They made plays when they were asked to. I think the guys did a good, you know, Albert did a really good job of making plays that were really nothing into something, making defenders miss. Those guys bring a variety of skill set. You know, each guy's got a different strength, but, you know, those guys are fun to coach, and it's fun to call plays for those guys. You get the ball in any of those guys' hands, they all can do something different, and to let those guys get going, it started, we felt like, at least I did, I felt like we were in a really good rhythm, you know, and then we take a break and then come back, and then I felt like we got another one, and then we take a break. Then we actually started scoring some points there towards the end.
There were some fun, creative ball plays. One that jumps out is when Wilson did the end around, and he had sort of an option to pitch to Kenyon. How much do you enjoy the process of researching and drawing up unique ball plays?
Well, some of that might be copied from somebody else that I used to be with. So, you know, I got a pretty good library of things that I can lean on. You know, and having him in town a couple weeks ago was nice. So being able to go through a lot of things. He had a great crew of wide receivers. He was able to be creative, and I feel like we have a good crew that we can do a lot of different things with those guys. And, you know, we've kind of historically have always gone back, and when we get a new guy, we check out what they've done in the past. At the same time, we're not afraid to go back, check out their college tapes, see what they did, you know, a long time ago, why they either didn't get drafted or why they did get drafted. So it's fun to do. It's, you know, you try to stay within the framework of the system and be creative at the same time. And I think when you have good players, you're able to do that, and it's fun to call those plays.
So was the Wilson play a Martz play or an Albert Wilson Georgia State play?
That was a Martz play. That's an old Azeem play.
I'm sorry. The 2 breaks gave you, I guess, time to reassess how things were working. Was there, 12 minutes and halftime isn't a ton of time for adjustments, but 2 hours and then another 2 hours are.
Yeah.
Is there something that you were able to identify during that time?
No. We were just worried about ourselves. We just kept talking about trying to organize some series, you know, some drives. How can we get things going, you know, be consistent? And then really it was, how do we make sure our guys are ready to go back out there? It's like, it's dead time, and then you get a 10-minute warning, and you have to juice it right back up. So that was really one of those, that's what a lot of our conversations were about.
You talked about that kickoff return and the changes in the rules helping him. You had 2 in the last game. How does that change, I guess, you know, the way you guys, particularly during game plans, knowing that you can either burst or have one burst against you?
Well, you know, one of the things that we talked about when we kind of were putting our team together in the offseason was this being something that the league was going to go to. We talked about having speed and being a fast team, and it really can work against you, it can work for you. And we feel like on kickoff return, 100% works for us to where we get athletic guys, getting guys covered up, and got a guy like Jakeem that can take one back. And at the same time, with the rules, it's not as easy on our kickoff team. And we got a lot of guys that are playing on, starting units on our offense or defense. And, towards the end of the game, we have to stay aggressive in our tackling and our what we're supposed to do. Everybody doing their job, and there can't be any, hey, I'm tired and I can't do this. We have to do a way better job on that.
You teach it differently, I guess, since they've changed the rule.
Well, I mean, you just what the rule is and how we kind of approach it, how aggressive we want to be. It changes from game to game. But I mean, we have a good feel. I mean, we got one of the guys that was, on that committee that kind of came up with all this stuff. So we got a really good feel for what we're supposed to do.
Adam, your defense gave up 13 points. How would you assess their play?
I thought there was a lot of good. I know Matt and those guys want to make some improvements, and we want to do some different things as far as how we can stop the run game and just be more efficient and consistent, really. I think there was times where we did a really, really good job, and you could see it, and there was good tackling. And then we just had some missed tackles that we just can't afford. We can't have that. Can't have as many as we did, and we have the right calls on. It's just we have to execute, and then everybody just needs to do their job. We have to be able to tackle one-on-one in space, in the hole. We can't miss those. There's a reason why guys like Rashad Jones go to the Pro Bowl year in and year out, because when he's in space and he has a guy in front of him, he makes the tackle. And we just have to be consistent as far as doing that, game in, game out. We have to work on it every day.
Mink is pretty good at that, isn't he?
He does a really good job.
Adam, it seems on the surface the secondary was good at making plays. Rashad's interceptions, Bobby had a pass breakup in the end zone, Minka had the crucial tackle. How did they play as a unit?
I thought those guys were good. I thought Bobby made a couple really nice plays, and probably one of them that really wasn't his responsibility, but because he's aware, he saw it. And, they tried to target him about 6 times, and they didn't have any completions. The only one, I don't even count the one that, they say was completed on it, because we're in cover 2 and he's sinking and the back gets the ball. That's not on him. So thought he did a good job. It was good to see him have success. That was one of those games where there's some bigger guys there, and that was going to be a challenge, and he did a good job of covering those guys up.
How about TJ McDonough? I'm sorry, Adam. You've been trimmed a lot.
Yeah, like 6 times.
You're 7.
TJ had a lot of good, and we just got to keep doing a good job as far as being consistent on our tackling. I know that historically he's been a big hitter, and sometimes we're asking him to really be the guy that's saving the day when they get in the open field. So we just need to be consistent on that. I think that'll just keep coming as we go, the longer we go.
What do you think of what happened in the fight and the penalties? Were you all right with the number yesterday?
I'm never going to be all right with the number. We just need to clean up a few things. I think we have pre-snap penalties in all 3 phases, which we can absolutely control. And the fight, it just drives me nuts. I'd rather our guys celebrate with the guy that just intercepted the ball instead of doing what happened there. And we'll address it, and we'll handle it, and we'll make changes if we have to.
What went into the choice to go with Brock as the number 2 for the first week?
That's what I felt was best for that game. So we'll see kind of how it goes going forward. It's just one of those ones where I like both those guys, and that one's not an easy decision each week.
What impact did you see Tannehill back having, in the huddle with this team?
It's just that he knows this offense well enough, and he's been in it for 3 years now, and he's played with some of these guys, the 2 tackles, and Kenny and Drake. He's been with those guys for multiple years now. I think those guys are all comfortable together, and then some of the new guys, when they've come in, they've embraced what we've been doing, and I just like the way that we're operating. I think there's some things that we're going to clean up, and we're going to feel better about probably 4 weeks from now, and we'll look back on this game and wish we would have done better. But it feels right. It feels like we're heading in the right direction, and we're going to have to make the corrections on this one and then get to the next one.
Seems like,
Adam, go ahead.
seems like Kenny Stills is at this point, he's a veteran receiver, but it seems like he still has, I guess, ascension or ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think he still can do in this offense, especially that it's more wide open now?
I think the more variety we give him, because we know he's a vertical threat. He showed that again. that he still is able to do that. And I think there's more underneath, and I think there's more as far as receptions per game go, to where maybe instead of 4 catches for 100 yards, it might end up being like 7 or 8 catches, to where there might be a couple shorter throws in there. So, I think that's something we're going to keep working on and improving. I know he's aware of it because we've talked about it as far as trying to make sure that teams can't just say he's only going to do this, and we're just going to keep trying to spread the ball out, move guys around, have them do different routes, and have variety.
Seemed like that first touchdown, I guess you could assume out of the slot. He seems to have a lot of success in that area. Is that a kind of example of what you're talking about?
Yeah, he can move all over the place. I think he's been the most productive slot receiver the last 2 years in the NFL. So that's nothing new to us. And sometimes he's right place, right time.
Have you noticed a difference either in personality or output from Josh Sitton that he makes on that offensive line? It seemed like Jarrell Casey wasn't a huge problem yesterday, but
yeah, I'm sure he wouldn't. He's not going to say anything's going to be easy. Those guys work hard to keep Ryan clean, and they take a lot of pride in it. And I also think they take a lot of pride in our backs having success, and the run game means a lot to those guys. So, we just need to keep doing a good job of mixing up our calls, putting in the right stuff per game, to where our line has enough to where they can do what they feel like we're really good at, and then at the same time we have some things to where we can pop some things free without those guys having to exerting a lot. And I think yesterday there was a lot of good that we did. I think there's some things that we can improve on, what we present to the players as coaches, and at the same time how we execute things. I think it's heading in the right direction, and I like that group up front. And it's nice to see our quarterback be able to stand in there a little bit and make some of the throws that he did last night.
To get where you guys want to get to, you're going to have to win games like yesterday. Did you make that point to your team that, hey, there's going to be these 50-50 games that if we want to get to the playoffs, we want to have
Yeah, our guys aren't going to worry about anything past this next game. So we don't talk like that. I know that's how everybody else in the world talks. But in this profession, you better focus on what you're doing now, because it's hard enough as it is.
Derby had a pretty big role yesterday. How did he do, and what went into that decision?
It was just kind of how the game played out. We had 58 plays, I think, which we want more. And, we kind of were trying to – it was one of those things where we were trying to give Mike a series here and there. I just have to, I have to be aware of who's in the game at the time, because there's certain things that I know AJ does well, and then Mike does. Mike's got a different skill set, obviously, and it's just kind of a back and forth. Me and Shane are trying to talk through what we want to do each series. So it's going to take me. I need to get used to it, because it is a change for me of rotating the tight ends as much as we do.
Did you have any injuries coming out of the game?
Yeah, right now we're still evaluating John Denny, and then past that I haven't really talked to the trainers that much. I do that on purpose, so I don't have to talk to you guys about it.
I was actually just going to ask about John Denny. When that situation comes up, is that one of the more unsettling replacements you have to make during a game?
It's one of the ones I wish nobody told me. So I found out right before the ball was snapped. So that was interesting.
Who's the backup?
I'm glad you were paying attention.
Did somebody take one?
Yeah.
All right. I asked, and no one knew, but you knew.
Did you get worried before or after the one hopper?
So they told me before.
But how much do you prepare for that? Because
They work on it. No, they work on it. There's times Mike Hall's always been the guy that we throw in there, and we do things in the spring. Rizzy and Moof, they do that to where all of a sudden they'll pull John out of there, and they'll throw it, and they'll be like, Mike, you have it, to kind of try to create a little bit of sense of, you're trying to almost create panic to see how everybody reacts. And, we've had to kind of make some adjustments since, Mike's not playing right now. And, it just happened to be the first game of the year, backed up.
Did he do it in college? How do you?
It's one of those things where guys kind of volunteer for it, that they have experience doing it, to where, and Rizzy and Move, they know. They could tell you if a guy snapped in middle school or something. So they always have an idea.
That's good. All right. Thanks for your just for the update.